Hello friends. So in this lecture we'll be discussing on the journal finders and we'll be discussing on different types of journals. I'm going to tell you regarding the predatory journals, but while you are trying to publish a particular article, or rather your intellectual output in the recorded form to a journal, so first and foremost thing is that you have to understand the quality of the journal, who are the persons behind that journal, like the editorial board, the time required for publication of that journal. So all such things are there. Along with that one, you have to understand that thing also. That is, there are the different journal finders tools, because many times you might not be very much have the adequate knowledge of finding the right tool to get where you can publish your research. So I will tell you some of the journal finding tools also, from where you can find out your relevant subject specific journal, and as well as the broad spectrum of journals where multidisciplinary articles are being published. So along with that one, just to curb the challenge of predatory journals, you have to know that one very well. That is, not only you have to go with that route of finding out the real journals, or rather the authoritative journals, but you may have to explore something like the commercial journals as well as open access journals. And whenever you will be having the understanding of all these types of things, so then it will be easier for you to dig into the domain of academic discipline, and you will be rest assured that your intellectual work wouldn't actually be training by some unscrupulous people. So get tuned. We are coming with the presentation. Thank you. Now, the topic of our today's discussion is the finding of the right journal at the right time for the right work. Now you know that very well. That is, just to get a right journal is not very easy task, and obviously you know that one. That is, whenever you are finding that, if you don't find the right journal at the right time for the right work, specifically academic research demands doing the things just in time. And that's why if you can't do your work, if you can't publish your work within the right time, so there might be the other fellows who can take this challenge, and if he is or he or she is publishing that one before you, so all of your effort regarding this research will go in vain. So that is where we are actually talking about, that is the finding of the right journal at the right time for the right work. Now regarding this one, the first we are coming with the overview of the journal selection, the very concept of journal selection. And regarding this one, I must say you that thing. Now see, there are three sections, so that is 3 slides rather. So overview of journal selection, if you actually see that one, so first of all we are going to describe the role of the journals, what actually the journals are doing. So first foremost thing is that journals, you can start from anywhere, it's not a big deal. So just take this one, that is journals. This helps set intellectual standard. Yes, obviously if you can publish one article in the Nature or rather IEEE magazine, you know that one, it will help you to set your intellectual standard. But if you publish your article, if you publish your journal in a very local or regional journal, obviously will not be actually get noticed by your peers of your discipline, and obviously your standards will also be questioned. Now second thing is that the journal, it helps researchers advance in their careers. Obviously you know that one, the more these intellectual standards will be exposed, and obviously the researchers will get their advancements, and it will help the researcher to advance in their research, convey results to the academic community. Whenever you are conveying that one to the academic community by using the different channels of communication, like that of SlideShare, like that of ResearchGate or Academia Edu. So lot of things are there. So obviously you will see that one academic community will actually get noticed, or you will be getting noticed by the academic community, and at the same time academic community will actually be in a position to identify your work. And then there is a certified authenticity of your research. That is, whenever you are doing this research, and if it is actually published in a recognized journal, so obviously it certifies the authenticity of your research. And last but not the least, that is the facilitate communication among researcher. That is, you are imbibing the other researchers by communicating your finding, so that they are getting the impetus to move further. So that is what is a kind of, you can say that one, mentoring of the peers, or mentoring of your nears and dears in the academic field. So this is the first thing, that is actually the role of journal. Now if you see, this is the journal selection. The second thing is that, so journal selection, whenever you are actually going for that one, that is, first of all, suppose you are doing research and you are identifying some of the ideas, and then you are writing that one, manuscript preparation, and here you want to publish your article. So focus on this presentation. Here you see journal selection, this one. So obviously you see what you are actually going to do. You are submitting manuscript. Once you are submitting manuscript to this journal, you see this one, they are going for that one, the peer review. So this peer review can be blind review, double-blinded review, or rather other policies. So after peer review, this will be either accepted or rejected. Once it is accepted, it can directly be published, or rather it can go for revision and then it will be published. So actually this is the sequence of the process of accepting one article in a journal, very reputed journal. So this is coming from this one. So obviously these things, research, your manuscript prepared, then submitted, so it is going to the journal. They are having the review policies, and this might be different kinds of review policies are there. That is the blinded review, double-blinded review, peer reviewed, and then rejected or accepted. If it is accepted, then the editors might actually save some bit of revisional aspect, or they can ask you some bit of revision. So once it is revised and then re-accepted, then obviously it will be published. Otherwise it will be rejected. So this is what the second concept that is. And third one, there actually we are seeing that one, a mushrooming of journal production. Everyone is producing journals, specifically each and every time. If you open your Gmail, you will see that one, the invitations of submitting articles, and each and everyone is claiming that their impact factor is more than 2, 3, 4, 5. And many of the journals are rather being published from India. Some of the other journals are published from other places, and they have a huge, actually long editorial board, where many of the people are rather from the interdisciplinary disciplines. But these journals, so lot of journals, so actually there is always a chance that you might get lost within these pile of journals. So you do not know what are the different types of journals are rather really useful, or rather these are known as the core journals, which are rather the very few journals which are rather considered as or having the elitist property. That is where if you can publish any one article in any of these journals, and you will get noticed by the academic community, not only in your country but throughout the world. So obviously you have to have that one. That is, until and unless you can identify the real journal, you will be in trouble. So mushrooming of journal, right now UGC is taking care of this one, and UGC is actually taking some kind of stringent measures for curbing it down. and they already did that one previously. They discarded 4,335 journals from their list, which were actually included in 2016 UGC list, and then they formed UGC Care, and in UGC Care also they are rather including some of the stuff. But there are debates regarding that one, and there are rather discourse also. That is when people are actually talking about the very way of including that one. But a kind of initiative has already taken to curb it down. That is the kind of the business of journal, or actually the business of snatching money in the form of your output of your gray matter, or rather output of your identity as an academician. So now we are actually going to this perspective, that is the considerations while selecting a journal. Now, while you are considering, or rather trying to select a journal, this is rather finding out the needle in a haystack. You see, it's a very tedious thing. So only thing is that if you really try to find this one out, you can't actually find that one with your naked eye. So you have to take the help of some of the devices here. You see the magnet is there. So it can. So obviously, whenever our target journal is like that, and we are having this one, the actual crowd of journals, or rather you can say that, or the pile of journals, and obviously your journal is somewhere hidden within this one, which can actually better reflect your academic perspective. So you have to find it out. So obviously you have to dig it out from this pile, and that is where the certain factors need to be considered for identifying the most appropriate journal. So how you can do that one? So you are trying to get that one by this thing, that is the journal niche or general? And second one is that significance. Who does your work help? Then novelty and innovation. What is the outcome of your work? So practically speaking, you have to assess yourself first. This assessment is very important. That is, what is the journal niche or general, and the significance. Who does your work help? That is, which journal can help you for that one? And novelty and innovation. What is the outcome of your work? And then you are questioning some of the things like, does the journal, that is, accept your article type, that is original, review, case reports, letter, communication. So what are the type of article you have written? That is, if it is some kind of original ideas, or rather it is some kind of thing like, you say, a conceptual paper, or rather it is a review, or rather a case report, or the letter or communication. And does the journal accept theoretical or applied research? So that is where the theoretical underpinning on a particular subject is always some bit of it's a cloggy or fuzzy in nature. So does this journal accept such kind of interpretation or like that? And then you are having that one, that is accept clinical or laboratory research. So is it that the journal is accepting that one? Then publish open access subscription based. So this thing is very important. That is where the journal is subscription based, where you are actually publishing that one. What is their policy that this particular work can be accessed through the open channels? Is there any such kind of thing? And lastly, there is a charge publication fees. There are big journals, or there are actually many journals are there. They are rather charging publication fees, and some of the journals are there which are not publication fees. So these are important, because whether you are having that type of surplus for paying the publication fees for your article or not. So, and at the same time, so you have to read the titles, that is about the journals and scopes, and check it as whether the scope of the journal is rather matching with the scope of your research area. That is very important. Now see accessibility. Here this thing is very important, accessibility. This is how, so even if you have written one journal in an article, but most important thing is that whether the journal is accessible or whether your article is accessible by the users or by the persons, by the academic field. So obviously accessibility is an issue. If your journal is not that much of accepted or familiar, so you will be in trouble. So you have the broad scope journals, that is the top tier journals like Cell, Nature, Science. These are the top tier journals. More competition, lower acceptance rate. That is, competition is there, lower acceptance rate. So they have high standard, or rather they have a very stringent peer review policy. In case of language, in case of your findings, in case of your articulation of your ideas. So obviously you see that one, the very top tier journals. Then you have the mega journals, the plus one, high acceptance rate but charge publication fees. So here for authors like the Indian authors, so the authors from the countries like the third world countries or the developing countries, we do not have that much of surplus, or rather even if we have surpluses. So now the policy of the exchange policy, that is the currency exchange policy, all these things are rather coming as a bar for that one that is going for this thing. There's the mega journals. Then we have the specialized journals like traditional and society linked journals like American Chemical Society. Then you see for different types of physics, Royal Society of Chemistry, then Oxford University Press. So these are the society, or rather you can say the institution related or publication related journals. They are also specialized journals. So different levels of specializations are there. And narrow focus ensures exposure to a targeted group of researchers. So this is what. And second is that we have the regional journals, we have the international journals. Regional journals are good for domestically significant research, that is the case studies of a particular area in the region, but this may not be recognized internationally because the interpretation you are making, where interpretation is you are making on the basis of your data that you got from the regional basis, and that may not get fitted with the other places, the international books, because this thing you cannot replicate, mimic, or you cannot regenerate in other places, and may not meet the indexing standards of the major databases, because citations are there. That is, the more citations, the more usage, more you can say that is the value, or rather the codified value or more intrinsic value is there. So obviously that will be indexed in the indexing journals. But if it is not there in regional journals, these journals, and even if you see that the regional journals, these are also getting lesser marks in your UGC API academic score. So obviously regional journals are rather considered as, if I say that one, it's not inferior in that sense, but actually this recognition level is rather very less. And you have the international journal, there's widest exposure and global recognition. It is having the generally higher publishing and ethical standards, but may not be accessible to researchers because of the lack of funds. And most of the cases, these international journals, these are right now bundled, or rather these are right now being maintained by some kind of vendors, global vendors, the aggregators, the agglomerators, like you see this Web of Science, like say the Thomson Reuters, or rather the group of Elsevier's, and then you can say Emerald Publishing. So they are having everything, or rather some of the repositories like Gesto, Scopus. So this is how they are actually blocking the access. So this is one thing. And accessibility, whenever we are going for the second type of accessibility and international, we already discussed, and there's the third one. There is another model that is known as open access model. In the traditional model, we have the published materials that can be accessed only by the readers who subscribe to the journals. That is, if you subscription. If you have a subscription of the journal, you will get the issues in your home delivered, or rather in your department, or you can get that one in the library. And there are gold open access models. So these are actually the two types of models. One is gold open access, as a green one. And research materials are freely available. You are submitting that one in the open repository, or rather the open access journal. And the policy is like that. The first time it is being published in the open access journal, and obviously there is no string attached. Everyone from everywhere can access your article. And the green open access model, this is some kind of different thing. That is, you are submitting that one to one commercial journal, but the policy is like that after publication or after submitting that particular journal to that article, you can submit a preprint of your article to any open access journal or open access repository, and provided that publisher is rather giving you the green signal, that is, you can submit that one. Many of the actually commercial journals or commercial journal vendors or publishers, they are having some bit of embargo period of 6 months to 12 months to 2 years. So this is after 2 years or after 1 year, after 12 months, then you can submit that one to the gold open access model. Not gold, rather you can submit that one to the open access channel. So this means, so there is the green is also fine, but green is rather taking some bit of time, but gold is direct. But many people are still having that notion that one, that is open access model is something where the inferior journals are there and people are not actually using open access journals very much. So people are always using these one closed access journals. So this is not true. And there are some hybrid models also. That is, some portions are openly accessible while some of the portions require subscription. So these are options. Now discoverability. This is also very, now we are coming to our point. So discoverability means, that is how we'll understand that one, my journal is rather, or the journal I am supposing where that my article, I will publish my article, that is a good journal. So is the journal indexed in major abstracting and indexing services? These abstracting and indexing services are, these are rather, actually these are, you can say that one, these are not like the journal itself. This is a kind of indicator, or rather it's kind of thing, that is, they are enlisting the journals as well as the articles, the abstracts, in such a way, if the journal is having high values, and these indexing journals or indexing, yes, these indexing services, they include those journals there according to their ranking, their citations, their usage by the individuals. And obviously these are being measured with different types of techniques like impact factor, then Web of Science, Scopus, SkyFinder, IEEE Explore, PubMed, Embase, SiteShareX. So these are the different types of, you see, the abstracting and indexing services. They are recording the journals according to their standard. And if you really want to identify whether a journal is rather very good, or rather whether the journal is having the significance in your academic field, so you can go to these databases. Some of the databases are not actually accessible, freely accessible, but some of the databases are obviously freely accessible. You can go there and you can search whether your journal is there or not. At the same time, you can even find out, that is, their impact factor you can find. So impact factor means, so the policies are like that. Only those journals are rather enlisted in these indexing and abstracting services which are rather qualifying the parameters established or parameters set up by these indexing and abstracting service agencies. So then we have that one, that is, we can go for discoverability by identifying whether the journals are having the social media presence, or rather these are rather being indexed by the popular search engines. So this searchability, like popular keywords, you see, You can use this one, popular keywords. You can use the optimized vector graphics, Google Analytics, and you can publicize your article on social media to different platforms, interest groups, Twitters, LinkedIn. So whenever you are trying to identify whether the journal is rather very much accepted or not, you can go to in Facebook, different types of groups are there. In Twitter you can ask, in LinkedIn specifically one particular social networking site for serious fellows. So you can go there and you can identify your journal. Now regarding journal quality, whenever you were talking about how we can assess that one a journal is having the quality, so this quality criteria is rather judged by this one. That is, although you can see that one, some of the quality parameters may not be very much worthy also. I am saying you that one from my perspective, I can say that one. Obviously some of the parameters here stated is not very much worthy to consider as quality, the concept of quality, but obviously these are some bit of related with that one. Is the journal read by your target audience? This is very important. Whether how many people or how many researchers in your area are reading that particular journal. Does it have the ISSN number? This thing is not actually that much of. So ISSN number right now has become an ornamental one. Everyone is getting ISSN, and even the predatory journals are also having ISSN. So this is, but ISSN, the very scope of providing ISSN or very concept of providing ISSN was different. But right now what is happening that everyone is getting ISSN. Here I think we have to ponder over more, that is not to assign ISSN number to each and everyone who is applying for the new journal. And the target audience is important. Then is it subscribed to by libraries? This is one important thing, because libraries, whenever they are subscribing journals, they are also identifying, or they are also evaluating different types of factors, check and values, and because this is being used by the faculties of that particular or the surroundings of their libraries, specifically the academic libraries. So libraries are having some feedback. So obviously with that feedback the libraries can subscribe different types of journals. Now ranking, that is, how does it rank compared to other respected journals in your field? So if you actually enlist some core journals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what is the range, or what is the rank? Is it led by an effective editorial board? It's one very important thing. There is editorial board, because this editorial excellence is one of the most important thing for measuring journal quality. Whether it is peer reviewed, review policy, is the publisher clearly mentioned. Many of the times you will see that unpublished by one individual from one particular place. This is not the thing, publisher. And we are having this one, the journal quality. The second one is the journal quality, and where in this journal quality we'll be measuring the citation metrics. We're measuring the citation metrics, and so they serve as a measure as the journal articles, authors, institutions, and research impact-based citations. Can be the journal specific one. Journal specific metrics include journal impact factor. I told you that one in one of my students. The journal impact factor, agent factor, 5-year index, immediacy index. Journal metrics can have problems, and look at the all factors before making decisions. I already told you that one. Now speed of publication. This is another aspect. That is, many of the journals are having some kind of actually a gap period. That is, once you submit your article, and from the date of submission to the date of publication, the time gap is a very important thing. Many of the articles are having 6 to 9 months because of the pressure they are having almost all the times. So this is one thing, but here one particular point is very important. That is, if this speed of publication is, or rather this stopgap period is more, many times it happens that the relevancy of the articles, if it is a case study or rather some kind of study where the time is rather one particular factor, you will see that one, that will actually the focus of that particular research gets lost, and it tends to be on historical research. So that is the problem. So for this one, the speed of publication is important, and another type speed of publication is important because you see, specifically for the science, applied science or pure science, any particular aspect, if you do not actually publish in real time, you will see that one, it will simply be the wastage of time, and within the meantime, if another one is just doing a kind of the same thing, so might be this duplication of work, as because you are not noticing who is actually doing what kind of work. So obviously the researcher might get dejected with that very thing. Because of this time factor, he or she may lose the opportunity to be the first submitter or first propounder of that idea in that particular field. And is your research study time sensitive? That is what the important thing. And other factors are there, that is archiving article and supplementary data, whether the archiving is there or not, whether you can access the archive. There is what is the policy of the funding agency, the ethical guidelines. We are almost all the times we are discussing this one. Compliance with the public access mandates, that is whether this will actually do any kind of social good or not, or it will be with the hand of some you can say that one publication mafia who are always controlling this one, that is access to publication, or whether there are the article processing charges or not. Now next thing is that this is your part, that is think, check, submit initiative. What is that? So now one thing, that is www, that is thinkchecksubmit.org, they are prescribing this thing. That is, first you think, then you check, and then you submit. What are you submitting your research to a trust journal? Think, is it the right journal for your work? This is a thinking procedure. Then you check it. Use our checklist. So that is, they have developed one checklist, and only if you can answer yes to the questions on our checklist, then submit. So it is actually guiding researcher to identify, establish and authentic journals for their research. Collectively with authors of education, this cross-sector initiative promotes integrity and certainty on reliable research study. Coalition founded in the wake of deceptive publication. That is the predatory one. Now think, verify that the selected journal is authentic. Do not fall for predatory journals. Ensure that your research study matches the aim and scope of this selected journal. Check whether or not you peers know about the journal. Ask it. That is this journal, have you heard about this journal? Is the publisher trackable? Is the journal's peer review system is specified clearly? The peer review policy. If the article published are indexed, that's already published articles are indexed in where? In Scopus, in Web of Science, or rather in case of CiteSeer, in case of Sky Enago, different types of things. So at least where these are rather enlisted. Journal fee structure, that is how much they are charging for publishing. An editorial board, affiliation with the industry's initiative states. Only if the answer is yes to most of all these questions, then only you can go for publishing with that one. And right now the last portion, that is the digital tools to identify the right journals. Now what are these? Now we have the author specific tools, that is Find My Journal. This is the thing, Find My Journal. So one of its kinds, this software assisting the researchers to identify the most suitable journals by application of mathematical and objective algorithm. This thing you have to understand, this algorithm is rather the back-end policy, not back-end technology rather for this one. This is a kind of thing that is where it is assisting you to find out your journal based on certain parameters. Extremely useful for early stage as well as experienced researchers. These are the different publishers and database included in FINDHYJOURNAL, Elsevier, Taylor Francis, Wiley, Springer, Web of Science, Scopus, Sage, PubMed. So practically speaking, you will see the world's most renowned publishers, those who are actually publishing different kinds of journals, you can get that on FINDHYJOURNAL. So just check it and see whether that journal is rather popping up or not. If the journal is popping up, and at the same time you will actually get that one, other things also, this is where you see for the purpose of this. So you just, this is simply answer the following sets of questions. So only those questions you just state, and ultimately you get that one, the name of the journal, or rather the names of the journals where you can submit your article. So this is what your subject area, most cited journals in your manuscript, objectives of your study, article type, expected time of publication, accessibility, SCI indexing, target audience, comparative quality of journals, keywords based on your manuscript. So all these things, they can specify you, that is, what are the particular journals, what are the list of journals, what are the different types of journals that can help you to promote your research activities. Then we have the author specific tools. This is the Enago's Open Access Journal Finder. This one is the Open Access Journal Finder. With the application of this advanced search algorithm, that is OAJF, this one, Open Access Journal Finder, it is actually finding out the top-notch open access journals indexed by the most trusted directory of open access, DOAJ. It helps you. You have to find out the whole thing of DOAJ. You just take the help of this one and it will find out the relevant journals from DOAJ itself. So aims to solve familiar issues related to authenticity of journals. And Enago's proprietary algorithm, so one algorithm is there, so it helps authors narrowing the list of most relevant journals, matching the purpose. And shortlisted journals are rather keyword targeted, most relevant to the subject area, validated and certified by DOAJ, include international high impact and peer-reviewed publication. Here you see, this is rather author-specific. So Enago, if you go there, you will find this one, Open Access Journal Finder, powered by Enago. So in the back end, this is being driven by the Enago developed special algorithm, and you can say that on journal results, add your manuscript abstract here. Here you just go for that one, and you can search journal. This is the directory of Open Access Journal. So this is where, so these are rather, now you see different types of menus are there, and the most important one is this one, pricing and quotation. So as because they develop their own algorithm and technological backend, so they are charging for that one. And then we are getting the publisher specific tools, like you see the Wiley's Journal Finder, then Springer's Nature Journal Suggester, Elsevier's Journal Finder. So we have the Springer's Nature Journal Suggester, Wiley's Journal Finder, Beta, Elsevier Journal Finder, have very user-friendly process. The authors have to submit the title of the manuscript, the abstract, followed by selecting the subject area, and then the software will return a list of best match journals suited for manuscript submission. So these things are very important. That is what is the algorithm? Algorithm, so basic principle is that you just mention the title, because many of the times this title, actually in research article, titles are rather very lengthy, and title is actually having a lot of keywords or metadata. So the titles, then you actually submit the manuscript, that is the title of the manuscript. So give the abstract. If you write your article properly, and your abstract should reflect, it is actually the mirror of the whole article. So this abstract should contain or should be prepared in such a way that it can identify the core essence of your journal or article. So, and then you follow, say, the subject area, that's your interest, and then the algorithm is like that. By matching all these data or metadata, it will try to extract the relevancy of that one, and if it will actually, after getting the relevancy, it will actually short it down by your input of different things like the title and the abstract parameters, all these things. It will precise the list, and obviously you will see that on very selected list will come to you, and this will be the most helpful thing for you. And you see this publisher specific, say journal finders, and here find matching journals, and here you see this one, that is the find journal by title, search for journal, and then find. So this is what the difference of journal finding tools. And lastly, tools to ensure the authenticity of journals. Now how you can see the directory of journals, authenticity. So for the open access you can go there, but for the closed access, authenticity, you can go directly to the journal site. If you go to Journally, if you go to Emerald, if you go to Sage Publishing, if you go to Science Direct, if you go to Elsevier, you can go to directly to the journal name, and whenever you are going to the about the journal, you will get the list of the editorial board, impact factor, everything. But for those journals which are rather in open mode, or rather kept in the directory of open access journals, you will see that one. This online directory is actually having 12,000 high quality peer reviewed open access journals across STEM, that is social science and humanities and discipline. Okay, this directory, the directory is good starting point for searches relating to the credibility and trustworthiness of open access journals. It promotes the principles of transparency and best practices in scholarly publication. And you see here, you see if you go to the DOAJ site, and if you search any journal, like there is one particular journal here is retrieved, and here you see the Journal of High Energy Physics, the short form JHEP. This is online, yes, ISB, that is ISSN homepage. See, they are giving you what are the things they are giving you, which is a publisher, Springer Open, that is open publication. Who are the publisher? International School of Advanced Studies, country of publishing Germany, platform host aggregator Springer Link, date recorded. Now Library of Congress subject category, publishers keyword, language, full format. Now here you see this thing tick. This is the accepted by the policies of DOAJ, and this is what DOAJ seal. So this is one trusted journal, and this journal is of high input and having. And see, article processing charge, no, submission charge, no, waiver of policy charge, no. And here you can see the editorial boards also. If you get all information in a particular place, now obviously by this way you can go for publishing your article in such kind of journals. So this is how, this is the beauty of this one. And here also this thing, that article level. Previously I told you the journal, here you will actually get that one, article level. Example, this article you are searching and you see the journal homepage, ISSN, publisher, LCC, editorial board, who are the authors, you are getting the abstract. So, and here you are getting that of Creative Commons license, metadata license, and retrieval date. So by this way you can actually see that one. That is how this potency of your article is rather increasing by submitting this one to such kind of repositories. And DOAJ is, when submitting, check it, DOAJ, whether the journal is listed, the publisher is a member of DOAJ, the journal adheres to the revised DOAJ acceptance criteria, journal has been awarded the DOAJ seal, the journal has been removed from DOAJ. If it is removed from DOAJ, don't actually take that one into cognizance. And directory, the journals, if journals are removed from DOAJ, now see how it's no longer open access, change that policy. It is inactive, seized, not published enough articles in this calendar year. Website URL no longer works. Evidence of editorial misconduct. Publisher fails to submit new application within given time. No adherence to industry's best practice. So by this way they have this one, you see, strict policies. And if any particular journal proponent vendor, or rather the journal publisher, they are not actually abiding by all such things, this will be removed. And journal seal is provided if they use digital object identifiers, DOI. DOI is rather one particular address like IP address. This is the specific address of each and every article throughout the world. And you see, believe it, every article published in you can say the controlled journals, or rather this type of journals or indexed or abstract journals, they are having the DOI, digital object identifier. It provides article metadata, deposit content with a long-term digital preservation, deposit policy registered, allow reuse, embed machine readable CC learning information, allow author to hold copyright without restriction. This is a policy of this one. Then we have Open Access Scholarly Publishers Association, or SPA. OSPA, they represent the interest of the open access publishers and globally via exchange of information, setting standards, advocacy, education, innovation. So these are actually the Open Access Scholarly Publishers Association. So this is what this association. So within the open access, they actually make their own policies. Stringent application evaluation process followed by publishers. Applications are judged by the committee and board of members against strict set of membership criteria. They ensure the publisher follows responsible publishing and practices adherence to OSPA model. And see this one, member record. So this is the title, scholar, URL, owner, editorial office, copyright link, copyright policy. And if you go there, you can find out their policy also. Then CLARIVATE, this Thomson Reuters branch, so they also made one analytics master journal list. If you go there, master journal list, so find a specific journal by this one, view a list of all journals, view a list of journal coverage charges, all journals coverage charges. So this one is rather, you can say that one a kind of commercial venture. So this the CLARIVATE analysis, this is actually who are the promoters of Web of Science, or who invented the Web of Science, who are actually selling Web of Science. So they have this master journal list. You can search that one also, the open commercial journals from this one. And if you find any journal here, you will actually be rest assured that this will be indexed in Web of Science Scopus there also. This is what the beauty of this one. And tools to identify the journal ranking, we have that one, Enago, journal and country rank, one-stop platform for journal and country ranking. It is using Google page ranking algorithm, and you can obtain such detail from Enago, that is the SGR ranking and H indices, a free platform from where you can get all information. And journals are compared and analyzed according to the subject area. They have different types of indicators, and here you see this one, that is the subject area. This is a journal, this is a type, that's SGR index, H index, total documents are last 3 years, total references, how many references, total sites, citable documents, there is last 2 years reference. So you can even calculate the H index, or rather impact factor, everything from this place. So this is what the journal and country ranking thing. And lastly, we are going for the disclaimers. That is, all contents used in this presentation are under CC licensing, that is Creative Commons licensing, and for academic use only. Thank you, and thank you very much for your